everybody, and welcome to the podcast. Today's date is September 5th, I believe, 2025. The time is 11:27 in the evening. I'm recording this right now, and damn, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. This is my 9th attempt at this. So a little bit of a backstory and kind of like not a sympathy party, but I feel like it's needed and it's warranted. Man, people that do editing, kudos to you, because there is so much that goes into this. It's not even, I guess I can't explain it, but to some people that do this often, I'm sure it probably comes with a lot of foresight, know what to do, anticipate it, avoid it. Get your technical stuff in order, your lighting, camera. Oh my God, it's just insane. And I kid you not, this is like my 8th or 9th attempt at this very same episode. And the only reason why is because I did it through this particular software that I don't want to throw it any shade because it is good. But if I'm doing something wrong, obviously I don't want to say that it's not me, it's them, et cetera, and I don't want to do that. So anyway, so I recorded through this particular platform, and what's funny is that typically when you do it that way, you should be able, or the way they make it seem is like, oh my God, it's easy peasy, you upload it, record it, edit it, and you're good to go. No, it doesn't work that way. It's not set up like that. So apparently you have to look at what they call it, frames per second. If it's too much, it's going to glitch on you. So the other 7 that I recorded before this, they were basically like this. This is my reenactment. And so my face would get stuck in so many contorted different ways, like, like it was just spazzing out. It wasn't good, y'all. It wasn't good. So I decided to just say, fuck that. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to redo it from scratch. Sometimes simple is better, and I want to keep it simple. So this is where we're at, right? So with that being said, let's dive in a little bit into what this podcast and what this video podcast was about. So there's a couple subjects that I definitely want to touch on. And number one was one that I've been pretty amazed in for the past couple weeks. So I know a lot of us, when we like to scroll and we go on Facebook or TikTok or whatever, we tend to see videos, which I've spoken about quite often, and we like to chime in if something that we see is completely egregious and just goes totally against something that we believe, right? So you comment shit, and then that's typical stuff, right? Now, this video that I saw, though, however, it prompted me to really dive in, and I think I might have overstepped, and by the looks of the reactions that I've gotten from people, it looks like it triggered some folks. So many of you listeners out there that do Little League, baseball, or in travel ball, etc., hey, kudos to you, right? I'm not throwing any shade at it, but damn, I mean, some of us parents, I think we kind of overstep, and we tend to put a lot of pressure thinking that we have the next Aaron Judge, the next Shohei Ohtani, and we forget to look at the bigger picture that they're just kids, and we should just be having fun and enjoying them and watching them enjoy this, and we should just leave it at that and not live vicariously through them because we couldn't do something at such a young age. But the video that I saw, it was basically a regular Little League tournament game. And the bases were loaded. And when the bases were loaded, the hitter on the box hit the ball pretty well. And it prompted the third base player to come home. And those of you who played catcher before know that you have one or two options. You either move out of the way, angle your body in such a way where you won't get hurt, or you do it old school where you block the plate and you kind of wait for whatever's going to happen. Let it come naturally. And I kid you not, this kid running from third blew up the catcher because the catcher was blocking the plate. And it was an insane play, and it was very violent. And those of us who like violence are like, fuck yeah, that's totally old school. It was. It felt old school. Obviously, a lot of parents did not like that. And I chimed in because I thought the fucking video was hilarious. You know what I mean? Like, but that's my sense of humor. I know some of us out there listening have the same sense of humor that I might have. And sometimes you see shit, and I'm sorry, other people might think it's messed up, but I might find it hilarious. That's just the way that I perceive things, right? I mean, you can't get mad at that. So then, of course, that prompted me to go ahead and chime in and put in my 2 cents. And this is 3.5 weeks ago. And this is all I said. I said, and I quote, legal play, blocking the play. That's it. Nothing else. No other comments, no other feedback. I didn't invite the smoke. I didn't say anything else. That I left it at that. And I kid you not, the level of freaking venom that I've gotten now for 3 consecutive weeks. I mean, shit, I've gotten comments like, tell me you've never played baseball without telling me you never played baseball. You are just an idiot. Why are you commenting? Go to hell. F you. And I mean, pretty evil shit. And I'm just like, fuck, dude, that was a trigger? I mean, you're that salty and that upset because of what I said about my observation on a Little League game. And to this day, 11:33 in the evening, this Friday, September 5th, I'm still getting shade for it. So that was funny for me in particular. That was one thing. I mean, I know I typically comment on videos and things that I see that I find egregious, like, a kid playing dice, or some kids getting ready for the prom and renting Bugattis and G5s and G-Wagons, etc., and doing all that. And that's basically what I comment on, right? I mean, that's the core of this particular channel, which is basically me speaking my mind and giving you a very raw and uncut, unfiltered point of view from a parent's perspective that is honestly very tired of people just kind of tiptoeing around shit and pretending that there's not a problem. And we see things on social media day in and day out, and I think a lot of us overlook stuff because we don't want to say things or we don't want to trigger folks. And I hope to be that voice for some of you that has a lot of apprehension to say what you really think, and this is the place for it. So once I upload these videos, please feel free to comment, like, subscribe, share, comment in your own opinion on it, right? Give me the smoke. Let me know if you really disagree with something that I got to say. This is a forum, right? Let's vent. But with that being said, some really cool news, though. So Juwan Jennings from the San Francisco 49ers is finally going back. So that was something I mentioned in the previous podcast that, the football season is here. I'm all excited for it. I'm a San Francisco 49er fan. So Juwan Jennings is like a third in Juwan, our third down receiver. And the fact that he decided to come back and not hold out, phenomenal, great news. We needed it. However, the latest update at 11:35 in the evening was that Christian McCaffrey during practice might have hurt his calf again. So for those of us who play sports and follow the San Francisco 49ers, we know this is not good news. Fuck, what are we going to do? And we're playing the Seahawks. So it's a division rival. And I know I'm going off the beaten path, but I'm a sports fan. Football is back on, y'all, and it's exciting. The Dallas Cowboys lost yesterday, which was completely hilarious because whenever they fucking lose, not a Cowboy fan. So I don't care. And today the Chiefs lost against Jim Harbaugh and his freaking Chargers, dude. That team looks good. Herbert looks good and well coached, and Harbaugh looked great. And Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs, who the Niners wanted, by the way, got his ass given to him. He was being torn to shreds by Herbert. So whatever play calls were being done by Harbaugh, I'm sure a lot of teams are like, gotcha. But then again, Mahomes didn't have Rashid Rice. You have an aging Kelsey because he's getting married soon, so you know that was going to happen. Pacheco is unproven. He got hurt last season, so this is his first go-around at actually getting some higher reps. And that's all Mahomes has. But Then again, don't feel bad for them. They're defending champs, not defending champs, but they have won Super Bowls in the past 10 years. So kudos to them, right? And so anyway, so guys, that has me excited. I'm on a fantasy football league. Those of you that are, it's been a weird first 2 games, ain't it? Saquon Barkley went off. Jalen Hurts, I thought, was going to completely destroy the team after the delay of game because of the lightning. It was a whole different tone. So anyway, I digress. So what's the other topic? What's the other agenda, Oscar, you want to speak about today? Well, I want to talk about nostalgia, and I want to talk about some things that I've seen with teenagers doing these days. And nostalgia, what I mean by that is, I don't know if any of you have seen these videos, but they are Facebook or Instagram. They usually start off by, hey, imagine if you go to sleep tonight and you wake up tomorrow and you're in 1985 or 1995 or 1999 in my case, and you're back in time. What would you do? Your friends are waiting for you. You wake up and you're back at that time. Now, granted, my times around those times were pretty good. Not too bad. Not perfect, but not too bad. I know I feel bad for some of you, though, because I'm pretty sure if you woke up in 85 or 99, I'm sure a lot of you listening probably were going through some shit at that time that you're probably like, no, fuck that. I want no part of that. Take me back to 2025 because this year is not for me. But in this case, it was a positive spin on the nostalgia aspect of it. And one of the things that I saw and started thinking about watching this was the internet and the evolution of it, since the mid-90s. And I remember even the very first original dial-up. I remember Prodigy. I don't know if you guys remember that, but Prodigy came in a CD-ROM and a CD, and you would upload it, and it was free. You put in the PIN, the code key, and you would have chat rooms and forums, and that was mind-blowing at that time for a teenager, a young kid like myself, where you could actually speak to another human being. You didn't know where they were from. And it was exciting because it was just new, right? But it was so innocent, so fucking innocent. I mean, I remember even in Prodigy, after Prodigy, we ended up getting AOL, and I would enter these chat rooms, the general chat rooms, and you didn't know who the fuck you were talking to. You could be talking to a 47-year-old person pretending to be 16. Sometimes you would lie yourself when you were 14, saying you were 17. So you would start to chat this way, 17/MQ, whatever the hell it is, just to see who the fuck sent you a message. And then boop, you would get a direct message from somebody. And the euphoria of something that innocent and that stupid, if you really think about it. I mean, fuck, it was funny because I actually befriended some people that were from the East Coast. And I still remember getting letters from those people. And my mom would be like, who the fuck is this? Who the fuck do you know in Pennsylvania? And I was like, I don't fucking know anybody in Pennsylvania, but I know a friend who's a girl and she's my pen pal. Mind you, folks, I'd never seen the fucking girl and she had never seen me. So the fucking relationship, it was handwriting too. We would write fucking letters, man, legit as fucking letters you would write. And if you started crushing on somebody, you would draw some shit, draw flowers, find something from your front yard so they could see, and they would send you something right back. And it was just back and forth, but there's something innocent about that. But now that I'm older, I start to think like, fuck, dude, that person literally had my damn address, my apartment number, my zip code. Shit, I even divulged the school that I went to. Do you know how dangerous that shit is these days now? It is nuts. If we really honestly think about it, this is the shit that we were doing back then, and we're giving our kids a hard time. Well, yeah, this is why we're giving them a hard time, because that's how easy and innocent it was for us. And it was unregulated. It was the fucking outlaw times, man. I'm telling you, it was a trip. So I started thinking about that, and then something that triggered me, and I even spoke this about my wife. Do you guys remember Friday nights when you looked forward to going to Blockbuster and renting a movie with your family? I mean, I do. And it was such good memories, man. Such sweet, innocent memories where you literally got home from school. You couldn't wait for your dad to get home or your mom, and you couldn't wait to go to Blockbuster or Hollywood Video, like in the Bay Area, or Ultimate Video, which was a small little video store that was down the street from my house where I lived at in Daly City. And it was it was phenomenal. Fridays were Fridays. Hell, there was a fucking restaurant called TGIF. Thank God it's Fridays. And as I got older, I couldn't wait when I turned 18 to go to those restaurants, and I did. And I enjoyed it. And it was a vibe. It was a freaking vibe. Not even kidding. It was great. But I remember renting movies based on the cover of the movie, not because of the content, which was dangerous in itself. If you guys remember, my parents, they spoke broken English, so they really didn't have much of an inkling in regards to the ratings, like, you know, rated R, PG, um, PG-13, rated G, and all that. Before all that came out, or where it was actually regulated, you didn't know what you got. It was a roll of the dice, and you just hoped that the movie that you rented was not inappropriate. However, as a lot of us know, a lot of those movies back in those days were completely unfucking regulated. And Blockbuster had a little bit more restrictions and more filtered, and there was certain content and certain movies that were not allowed in Blockbuster because of the religious affiliations of the original owners of these stores and branches, which I'm not sure. I think they were Mormon or Jehovah's Witness or something like that. So they had very strict guidelines as to what movies they felt comfortable were going to be accessible in their stores. But then if you had a small little tienda that would rent movies, I mean, shit, they would put comedy, but the comedy that they would put in there was raunchy shit, you know, like stuff that's like that you would see on HBO or Cinemax after 7 o'clock, like the Red Shoe Diaries type of shit. Those of you who know. And it was a free for all. And it was funny for me because my parents would go and they were very big on comedy. So they would look at the cover or magazines, and if it was cartoonish of somebody doing something stupid, they would get it, they would rent it, we would watch it, and then we would come to find out that the content that they were showing on these videos was just highly fucking inappropriate. I mean, some shit that I shouldn't even be watching, and I was 12, 13 years old, mind you. And I have one of those funny experiences, actually. We rented the movie Sliver one weekend, and I still remember it. And the movie Sliver had Sharon Stone, the actress. And if those of you who do not know who she is, she's kind of like the equivalent of Sydney Sweeney, I think that's her name, the actress who just did like a jean commercial that she was getting a lot of slack from because she was being too sexualized, they said. Well, or like Scarlett Johansson, any of those like really like attractive actresses that are very sexualized. That's basically what Sharon Stone was during this time. And we were watching the movie, and the movie is basically about a creepy landlord. This lady, Sharon Stone, moves in, and he has like hidden cameras all over her apartment because he's very big into POV type of shit. And obviously, he watches her do very intimate things to herself and just changing, etc. It's a weird ass fucking movie, but it just so happens that he liked to involve himself with these tenants by pretending to be somebody else, and he would record himself and them. It was a whole thing. And a lot of the scenes, they were very, very steamy, you know? And there was nothing left to the imagination apart from you know what. And I remember watching it one day with my parents that they rented it. And it was funny as hell because I was on the couch and I kid you not, like I got excited, right? I was stimulated watching what I was watching. And I remember my mom asking me to go to the kitchen and saying, hey, why don't you go to the kitchen and get me something? I had sweats on, and obviously I was very stimulated, so I was embarrassed to even get the fuck up out of that couch And I was like, no, I'm not going to get the fuck off this couch. And mom will be like, yeah, go to the couch and give me this from the kitchen. I'll be like, no, I didn't want to. Well, I ended up getting up, and let's just say my dad knew right off the bat. It was a funny thing because I tried to cover myself up as much as possible, walked it down to the kitchen with a cushion between my legs so nobody would see it, strategic placement so nobody would see nothing. But my parents saw it. They were amazed at it. They were like just laughing their asses off. Um, and then I went straight to my room and they watched the movie by themselves. But you knew though, however, when you rented movies though, when they were Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Jean-Claude Van Damme, you knew those weren't money because those movies, you didn't have to worry about shit. It was just action and them blowing shit up. I mean, I remember now watching the movies from Arnold Schwarzenegger like Commando. That fucking guy never ran out of bullets. Y'all even notice that? I mean, he was like, "Brah, brah, da, da, da." But do you understand how hot the muzzle of a gun, the barrel of a gun gets after consistent use? It's fucking hot. And these guys would fucking grab it like, rah, 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 just fucking do whatever the fuck you want with it. It's so fucking unrealistic when you really think about that shit that now that you know, you realize, damn, dude, they never changed the clips. They never bothered fucking doing nothing. And when they were launching fucking bazookas and rocket launchers and shit, and they would miss a target, you would never fucking see where the fuck that rocket landed. You know what I mean? They give you a fucking dog or a cat innocently walking and shit in some bushes, and then boom, gone, explosion. Or somebody watering their plants and shit innocently, you fucking like ricochets and innocent fire. You know how many fucking people died in those fucking movies that weren't filmed and shit because Arnold Schwarzenegger was just blasted? Or when Rambo was like with the Gatling gun, just like, you know how many fucking poor animals and monkeys and koalas and shit all fucking got destroyed on that shit? I mean, the level of savagery, man, and fucking debauchery of death. It just cutting motherfuckers, mowing them down. Like, but that's the shit that you never thought about when you're watching the movies. You just enjoyed it. You're so immersed in the entertainment aspect of it. You're so immersed that you didn't think that. And that innocent perspective is something that we miss often these days. And because now you know what the movies are about, there is so many previews, so many like leaks about a particular movie and what it's about that there's no surprise anymore. It's just a matter of you watching it. There's so many videos about reacting to movies and their opinion on it that sometimes you're kind of desensitized to it. So when you actually do see it, there's no reaction from you. There's no surprise because you know what's coming. Meanwhile, you would watch The Sixth Sense before there were spoilers and your ass was fucking mind was blown finding out about Bruce Willis. And if you haven't fucking seen The Sixth Sense in his 2025, I mean, shit, where the fuck have you been? But let me spoil it for you. He's dead, okay? The whole movie, he's dead. And the kid is seeing him and he's a fucking dead ghost. There, I spoiled it for you. Yeah, hate me in the comments all you want, whatever. But now you can't do that. Everything's leaked. But, I mean, that was basically that, the nostalgia aspect of it. And it really got me. It got me thinking. And then I started thinking even more because sometimes when you start to laugh, and I hate to bring this down or this topic down to what the main focal point of this episode was, and that is parenting, right? Our parenting styles have changed and evolved from what we were raised at to what we are raising our kids under now. It's two different things. And that conversation and talking is something I revert back to, that's what's important. Having those conversations and making things innocent in a way, but also talking to your kids. And one thing that I've noticed a lot of kids these days are doing, and I might be late to the party, but is kids vaping at the age of like middle school. I mean, there's so many things that could go wrong with that. Them not understanding how it can crystallize your lungs and make them worse and have long-term damage. Things that weren't assessed when the things first came out because it tasted like strawberries. Now it's completely different, you know, um, things like that. But you need to start having these conversations now because the times that I just described, the nostalgia, that is no longer existent. It doesn't exist anymore. It's not here anymore. Now you have to be more proactive rather than reactive because by the time you actually decide to have a conversation with your kid about a subject or a matter, they've already learned it already a year ago. And by the time you come in with your logic, they've already made up their own shit. And I know as parents, we often like to protect our kids from the shit that we were exposed to. But you know what? Sometimes we have to be very harsh and we have to be blunt and we have to be honest because life is not going to be gentle. Preparing your kids for disappointment, preparing your kids for managing their emotions are so many key factors that can help them succeed as an individual because they're going to run into rejection a lot. They're going to run into temptation a lot and how they manage and navigate themselves through all these situations. That's what's going to distinguish them from being part of the norm or standing out and doing their own shit. You know, And like vaping, for example, it's hard for us to be harsh on a kid for vaping. And I know some of us parents are guilty of this. But if you smoke weed in front of your kid, don't be surprised if they smoke weed too. They will follow in your footsteps, whether you like it or not. You will set that boundary, that level, that parameter, that goal of what they think it's okay. What they allow and what they will tolerate is going to be based on what you do. So you are always have to be mindful that there's eyes always watching. But the other side of that coin is if you are co-parenting and the other parent doesn't give a shit and you are the only one, you wonder why a lot of these kids struggle because there's no uniformity. And that's something that we have to nip in the butt. And these days, there is more co-parenting happening than there was before. And we just got to figure it out, and I talk to my kids a lot about this stuff and I hear stories from their friends and it's a little sad sometimes when I hear it because I'm noticing that these kids, these young girls are developing an image of their mind of what is tolerable. So that's why now when I see videos of girls commenting and saying a lot of ignorant and stupid shit, I'm not surprised or wonder where they heard it from. It was either never told to them, explained to them, or they saw their parent do it. And this goes out to the gentlemen out there raising young men. Teach your boys to open a door for a girl. Let's bring back being a damn gentleman. And you don't have to go into a date expecting something on the back end each and every single time. You have to let your son know that it's okay. You can build a relationship. If you're in it right off the bat because you want something physical out of that individual and then you want a relationship, you're starting off bad already. You have to build something to look forward to. If you're already there right off the bat, there is no mystery. There's no discovery of each other because you're already discovering each other. And that's what you're about. Hey, more power to you. But we have to be mindful of that because we are raising the next generation. And that's what we always have to remember. It's not about us. I think we are reaching a point where we've done what we've done, and this is as good as we're going to get. But our kids, the next generation, they deserve a better chance and not the way it's trending. Because right now, I'm going to say it again, social media is dictating how they're going to grow and what they tolerate and what they deem acceptable and tolerable. And this goes to men, how they treat women, and how women should be treated by men. So let's cut that shit out. Let's figure it out together. So thank you. This is a little bit of a shorter episode than normal, but God bless you. Please like, subscribe, and share. If this video format works, I'll probably end up using this moving forward. But it is 11:57. I might be releasing another video, probably around Sunday or Monday, if this one pans out. But I appreciate you in the meantime. God bless. Thank you. I will be talking about some things that are going to be going on this weekend. I got 2 soccer games tomorrow, one at 9:30, another one at 11 and some change. And yeah. But in the meantime, God bless. Thank you. Enjoy Sunday's games. Go Niners.